So, the Russian sleep experiment. Back in 2010, a story popped up on the Creepypasta wiki about this secret Soviet experiment where supposedly 5 prisoners were kept awake for 30 days straight with some kind of experimental gas. As the days dragged on, the story claimed those poor folks lost their sanity and, well, turned into something not even human anymore. The tale really caught on online and folks started sharing this creepy black and white photo as so-called proof. The figure in that picture looked all skin and bones, with hollow eyes and this just unnatural look on its face, which honestly made the whole thing seem more believable. Over the years, that image got so tied to the story that a lot of people figured it must show one of those test subjects. But here's the thing, it ain't a real person. Turns out it's just a Halloween prop called Spasm made back in 2005 by a company named Morbid Enterprises. The original prop is actually an animatronic figure meant to shake around and make noise for a haunted house display. Next up, the Rake. In 2010, there was this image caught by a trail camera at night showing a pale, human-like figure with glowing eyes, crouched out there in the dark. Folks started linking it to a creature called the Rake. The story goes, it's this thin, humanoid thing that watches people while they sleep. Some versions even claim folks have been seeing it since the 1600s, though honestly, none of that's ever been proven. The Rake itself actually got its start on 4chan in 2005, where users just kind of made it up together through different posts. There wasn't just one story. It slowly turned into a big part of internet horror culture over time. A few years later, that image started getting tied to the Rake too. With its low quality and night vision vibe, it really did look like something you might catch on a wildlife camera, so a lot of people thought maybe it was real. But nope, the image isn't a real sighting. It was made digitally for a fictional project, and folks often link it to a viral campaign or alternate reality game tied to the movie Super 8, produced by J.J. Abrams. Now, that's never been officially confirmed, but some folks say it might actually come from somewhere else, since the figure looks a lot like the enemy from the video game Resistance 3. Either way, it was presented like it was filmed in a forest near Barrack, Louisiana, with all these little details to make it look legit. Now, let's talk about stairs in the woods. In 2015, a fictional post showed up on Reddit, written like it was from a search and rescue worker's point of view. The story talked about finding a staircase way out in the forest, and it was described as something strange and maybe even dangerous. As more folks read the story, they started connecting it to this one image of some stairs, and as the post got more attention, that photo became pretty well known online. A lot of people started thinking the stairs had no real purpose or origin, especially since they just looked so out of place. But the truth is a lot simpler. The stairs are actually part of an art installation called Observatory, created back in 1988 by a British sculptor named Bruce Allen. He built it in the Forest of Dean in Gloucestershire, England, as part of a sculpture trail. The whole idea was for folks to climb up and get a different view of the forest canopy and the sky. Over time, though, the structure wore down and eventually had to be removed for safety reasons. It's not there anymore, which is probably why there's so much confusion about the image nowadays. Cursed Teletubbies. So, back in the late 1990s, there was this photo taken of a kid sitting on a bed, surrounded by folks dressed up as Teletubbies characters. At first, it just looks like a regular visit, but, well, the costumes are honestly unsettling and look real different from how they're supposed to. That photo started making the rounds online, popping up on places like Reddit and 4chan, with nobody really knowing where it came from. The best lead about where it started comes from a Reddit user called JF1984, who said they saw the image hanging up in a children's ward at a hospital in England. According to their post, it was under a section labeled Celebrities Who Visited Us, so it seemed like it was just a normal visit, nothing out of the ordinary. There are some details in the image that back this up. For instance, there's a poster of Dutch footballer Dennis Bergkamp behind the kid, which points to a European setting and suggests the photo was taken in the late 90s. Back then, hospitals and charities often had folks in costumes visit to cheer up the kids, so the situation itself was actually pretty common. There's no official record of which hospital or who the child is, probably because of privacy rules, especially when it comes to kids in medical settings. At the time, it was just a casual snapshot, not really something folks thought to document thoroughly. Because of that, the photo exists now without much info attached, and over time, people have reinterpreted it. These days, it's often tied to liminal space and dreamcore aesthetics, images that just feel familiar but a little bit off. Backrooms. In 2019, an image showed up online of this empty office space with yellow walls and those harsh fluorescent lights. At first, it seemed normal, but the layout just felt endless, and the vibe was oddly familiar. The image was posted on Forshon in a thread about photos that seem unsettling for no clear reason, and it really stood out. Lots of folks said the space looked like something they'd seen before but couldn't quite place. Not long after, a whole story grew around it. The idea was, if somebody accidentally no-clips out of reality, they'd end up in a place like this, an endless maze of identical rooms, buzzing lights, and the smell of damp carpet. That concept spread fast, making it one of the most recognizable examples of modern internet folklore. The image inspired thousands of stories, short films, and even video games. For a while, no one really knew where the image came from, but in May 2024, online researchers figured it out. Turns out, it was taken in 2002 in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, inside a big empty storage and office area that was part of a Hobbytown store back then. The connection to Hobbytown is because the image was first shared on the store's website as part of a renovation blog. That space doesn't exist anymore, but the image is still one of the best-known examples of a liminal space. Cursed Minnie Mouse. In the late 2010s, a really unsettling image started spreading around the internet. It showed this dark, kind of messed up basement with stained walls and a worn, neglected look. Off in the corner, you could see someone in a Minnie Mouse costume, partly hidden and peeking toward the camera. The image first popped up around 2017 on sites like Reddit and Twitter, and it spread fast, usually without any explanation at all. There was no clear source, no known location, and nobody knew who made it. As it made the rounds, folks started calling it a cursed image. The thing that made it so memorable was the contrast between a familiar character and that creepy setting. What really got people was how it was shared. No context, just as if someone stumbled across it, which led folks to dream up their own stories about it. Eventually, more details came out. A YouTuber digging into the image's origin got contacted by people claiming to be behind it. They said the costume was made for a Halloween party by turning a Minnie Mouse doll into something wearable, and that the photo was taken in a basement of a house in Massachusetts. The setting, the altered costume, and the low image quality all made the scene even more unsettling. Even though the real story is pretty simple, the lack of context let it turn into something a whole lot more disturbing over time. Pigeon People on Google Maps. In 2013, a weird image started making the rounds online. It showed a quiet walkway with a bunch of folks standing on both sides of the path, all wearing the same pigeon masks and staring right at the camera. The image was snapped by a passing Google Street View car, which just records everything automatically as it goes. Because of that, the photo showed up online with zero explanation, leaving everyone to guess what was going on. As it spread across forums and social media, it got a lot of attention. The people were completely still, spaced out evenly, and seemed to know the camera was there. Folks wondered if it was just a random moment or something staged. Later on, the spot was identified as a path along the Tamagawa-jo Canal in Musashino near Tokyo. The people in the photo were actually part of a setup organized by editors at a Japanese web platform called Daily Portal Z. They found out the Street View car was coming through, so they decided to create a scene that would really stand out. They lined up along the path, put on pigeon masks, and stayed still as the car went by. One detail that made the image even stranger was the face blurring. Google's system thought the masks were faces and blurred them, which just made the whole thing look even more unnatural.